What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be catching up on a lot of news in the MJ industry. We're going to be talking about the upcoming elections and how the MJ industry is going to play a big role on the next winner. Also, we're going to be talking about 4 companies that could potentially grow over 300% within the next year. We'll also be talking about upcoming earnings. This week we have 20 companies that are going to be releasing their earnings, and I'm going to be telling you exactly which companies and on what days and lots more. Also, if you guys are going to hear lots of snoring throughout the video, that's because this little one likes to snore. So also let me know in the comment section, who do you think is going to win the election and why? Also, let me know which earnings you guys are looking forward to the most. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to leave me a like, and let's get this video started. So we got lots of news to cover today. We're going to start off with the 4 cannabis stocks projected to grow sales by at least 355% next year. We're going to move on to Canadian MJ sales hit a new high in June, but this doesn't tell the full story. Also, we're going to move on to a little bit of Trump news. Could Trump challenge Bernie Sanders on cannabis? Some cannabis cultivation laws finally loosened, and we're going to talk about earnings coming up in the upcoming week. On top of that, we're going to be talking about Planet 13 and their earnings date, which is I think on August 30th. We're going to cover a lot of news on the cannabis sector today. So let's get it started. Before we do that, I just want to talk about Planet 13, how their earnings are coming up on Thursday, August 29th after market. Also, I do want to mention that yesterday I did purchase some Planet 13. As you can see right here, it was a very small position. I purchased 350 Planet 13 shares at $1.80, and that is $1.80 American. We're just gonna look at Planet 13 right now just to see how they're doing, and Planet 13 has continued to be a company that I've talked about time and time again. Probably one of my favorite MJ stocks. And right now, as you can see, Planet 13 is currently up 8.4%. So yesterday I purchased Planet 13. Today it's up 8.4%, sitting at $1.88. So it had a nice little gap up today. You'll also see that I sold Alibaba August 19th for $178. Just gonna catch you guys up on my portfolio real quick. And I also want to talk about how lately I've been doing very small trades. I'm not really feeling too ballsy right now, especially since the markets are super volatile. So I am making very small trades, and Alibaba is currently sitting at $167.58. So as you can see right here, I sold 5 shares at $178. And if you look right here, you could see that I purchased 5 shares at $154. So I made nice little gains there with Alibaba. And speaking of those companies, I'll be showing you guys how much I've made in the past month from these companies. Planet 13, I so far had $1,085 profit, and Alibaba, from that trade, I made $112. Very small profit, but still better than nothing. So let's move on to the news real quick, which is 4 cannabis stocks projected to grow sales by at least 355% next year. And we're going to go straight to these companies, and the first one being Oxley Cannabis Group. And this is actually a company that I own, a super volatile company. This company's been floating below $1. Right now I think it's at 80 something cents. We're just going to take a look at Oxley real quick. Currently sitting at 84 cents. And I do believe this company does have a lot of potential. Unfortunately, I just don't like the way it looks on paper right now. I'll tell you exactly what I'm talking about. So right now we have a price to revenue of 114 and a price to sales of 665. And even though it's a penny stock, I do think that's way overvalued. We have a market cap of 485 million, but either way, I see a lot of potential in this company. We're going to go straight into why this article thinks Oxley Cannabis will have a sales growth of 3,056%. So Oxley has more than 12 streaming deals in place, as well as a notable joint venture with Sunnins. It's expected to grow sales from an estimated 5.8 million Canadian dollars in 2019 to 184.3 million in sales. If you do the math, that should be over 3,056% in growth in sales. If we actually do end up seeing those numbers, I won't be surprised to see Oxley back in the $2, maybe even the $3, who knows. We've seen Oxley in the past go as high as $2.60. If Oxley does reach over 100 million in sales, I won't be surprised to see Oxley beat their new all-time highs again. Oxley is a company I am holding, but once again, always make sure to do your own due diligence, do your own homework. This is a company that has seen lows of 60 cents in the last 52 weeks, so I won't be surprised to see it go as low as that, which I do believe could possibly create a very good buying opportunity. We're going to move on to the next company, which is the Green Organic Dutchman Tea God, another company I own. and this company is projected to grow 582%. The consensus suggests that sales could surge from 39 million, which is what they're going to do this year, to 227 million in 2020. So when fully operational, Green Organic Dutchman projects as the top 5 producers in Canada with 219 kilos of peak production. And like Oxley Cannabis, TGOD as the company is known and plans to focus on a lot of its attention on derivative products. So the one thing I do like about TGOD is the whole organic thing. A lot of people who might be new to this MJ industry might be more interested in a more healthier option like organic weed. So I do believe TGOD, if they learn to brand themselves a lot better, this company has a lot of potential, especially if they live up to their name. But let's move on to the next company. And it seems like all these companies I seem to own. Hexo is another company. This is a company that I've been keeping an eye on, and I missed my buying opportunity. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I've mentioned this in previous videos. I had a support line right here at $5 for Hexo. And if we're going to zoom into the 5-minute charts, we're going to see that Hexo literally just hit this 5-minute support line. It actually bounced a little bit below it and now has recently bounced up. So I missed this buying opportunity. I'll be keeping an eye on this support line. And of course, if you guys have been following my channel, you guys will know that these red lines mean strong buys for me. So Hexo right now sitting at $5.28. And it's expected to see its sales grow from $59.7 million this year to $329.5 million in 2020, which is a 452% growth. However, it should be noted that management has repeatedly suggested that $400 million in sales is plausible for 2020. So if that's the case, that's even better news for Hexo. Hexo is a company that I continue to invest in and trade with, and it's a company that I've been looking into buying more shares. And then last but not least, this is a company that I actually don't hold, but we're going to take a look at them, which is Flower Corp, expected to grow 356% from sales of 23 million all the way to 104 million next year. Unlike Oxley, TGOD, and Hexo, Flower hasn't been lumped in with major growers, at least in terms of production. Flower's focus is on flagship Kelowna facility, which is capable of at least 50,000 kilos of output. We're going to look at Flower Corp real quick. So right here we have Flower Corp, and in the past, I could see that I've drawn a resistance line, which seems to continue to be a good resistance line. I'm going to extend it all the way here. This resistance line is at around $7.70 Canadian for Flower Corp. And we can also see a support line right here, which is at about $2.75 for Flower Corp, which we actually seem to be hitting this support line right here. So I'm going to just draw a red line. So it's a fairly new company. 275 seems to be lower than their IPO. 52-week lows are $2.51. So this company is definitely near the bottom of their 52-week lows. Price to revenue at 42. Price to sales at 99. Definitely a lot better than Oxley, but still very high. It looks very tempting right now, especially since we're very close to the bottom of the 52-week range, and also because they do seem to be oversold. Looking at the MACD lines, we do look like we're about to get some buy signals. So I'll be definitely keeping an eye out on Flower Corp, currently sitting at $2.75. So those are the 4 companies expected to grow over 300% by next year. Now we're going to move on to the next article, which talks about Canadian MJ sales, which hit a new high in June. So I've talked about Canadian sales not too long ago, back in February, around February, March. In January, we started to see a decline. From December, we had $57 million in sales. January, we had $54 million in sales. In February, we had $51 million in sales. So we had a nice little decline in sales in those 3 months. And then it seems like in March, we pretty much continued where we left off. We went up to $60.9 million in sales, and sales have been increasing consistently ever since. So in June, Canadian marijuana sales went up to $91.13 million, which is their new record high. We'll definitely be keeping an eye out on for August, September. Hopefully we reach the 100 millions by August, September, and we can consistently stay above that number. It's not guaranteed yet, but let's just get into this article. So even though we have seen record numbers, supply issues are going to take a while to sort out, which is what they talk about right here. Health Canada began a year ago with a monstrous backlog of cultivation, processing, and sales license applications to review. So it often takes regulatory agency many months, if not more than a year, to give a green light to cultivation applications. So that means that some companies, some farms will not be able to grow for at least a year. That creates a lot of problems for a lot of companies that are ready to cultivate, grow, and sell marijuana, but unfortunately are being slowed down by the Canadian government, which we will continue to have as an issue. But anyways, if you guys want to check out the full article, I'm going to leave the link in the description below and you guys could read the full article. For now, we're going to move on to some other news, which is, could Trump challenge Sanders on cannabis? So Bernie Sanders campaign. Democratic candidates are united on marijuana's legalization, with Bernie Sanders being one of its staunchest supporters. When Sanders ran for the Democratic nomination in 2016, he became the first major president nominee to support cannabis legalization. The year prior, he had introduced the ending of Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act to remove cannabis from a Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. This year, he co-sponsored the Marijuana Freedom and Opportunity Act, aiming to decriminalize cannabis at the federal level. So on August 18th, Sanders tweeted, "We must legalize marijuana nationally, expunge past marijuana convictions, and ensure revenue from legal marijuana is reinvested in the communities most impacted by the failed war on drugs." I've always been a supporter of Bernie Sanders, but I'm not going to get too political on this channel. But we're just going to move on to Trump's campaign, which is, although Donald Trump is vocal on many issues, he has not shared his views on the cannabis legalization. However, some believe that could change as we get closer to the election. As reported by the Growth Op, Piper Jeffrey analyst Michael Lavery expects Trump to make cannabis legalization a vital election issue to win over young voters. In a conference on cannabis policy, Lavery stated, "By supporting cannabis, Trump may be able to incrementally broaden his appeal with swing voters without alienating his base." So I'm not going to give my opinion too much on the upcoming election because this isn't really like a political channel, but let me know in the comments section, who would you want to win, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump? We're going to move on to the next article, which is cannabis cultivation laws finally loosen. So yesterday, the DEA announced it had loosened the laws on cannabis cultivation to support the expansion of cannabis research in the country. The federal law enforcement agency hopes the availability of cannabis for research will rise with the registration of more qualified growers. So in its announcement, the EEA reported that in the last 2 years, the number of individuals registering for cannabis-related research has risen by 40%. It added the production quota has more than doubled due to an increase in federally approved research projects. So why this is important? Federal law prohibits cannabis. Only 11 states have legalized adult use and 33 states have legalized cannabis for medical purposes. Technically, cannabis is still federally illegal in the United States, and the United States has a huge market. I would say at least 10 times bigger than Canada. So when the states, or if the states finally decides to federally legalize marijuana, I think this would help a lot of these companies, especially a lot of these Canadian pot stocks that already have a foot in the game. They're gonna be a few steps ahead of all these American companies, so they might have an advantage expanding into the US versus these American companies. But nothing is guaranteed yet. We're all just gonna have to wait to see. It may never be federally legal, or who knows, it might be federally legal in the next few years. So now we're going to talk about the week ahead in cannabis earnings, store openings, and more. So we're going to talk about a few companies that are announcing earnings in the next week. So on Monday, Golden Leaf Holdings and James E. Wagner Cultivation Corp will be posting earnings before and after the market. On Tuesday, we'll see quarterly reports from Ianthus Capital Holdings Inc. and Canopy Rivers, which will be before the opening bell. And after the market closes, Slang Worldwide, Curaleaf, and Delta 9 Cannabis are scheduled to provide their results. So on Wednesday, we have CB2 Insights, Green Thumbs Industry, and Tilt Holdings. Thursday, we have 8 companies that will report: Verio Health International, Weed MD, M Jardine Group. Those companies will be reporting before the market opens, and after the market we'll have Consortium, Harborside, Forefront Ventures, and Planet 13 Holdings Inc. So the one I'm obviously looking forward to is Planet 13 Holdings Inc., which will be on Thursday after the markets close. Anyways, that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed all the news. Once again, let me know, who do you think is going to win this election and why? Donald Trump, Bernie Sanders? Who do you want to win, and which earnings are you guys looking forward to the most? I'm personally looking forward to Planet 13 earnings. As I mentioned in this video, I picked up some Planet 13 shares, hoping to see some good earnings this quarter. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that notification bell, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye.